Hello everyone, my name is Elian Vasquez and today I want to teach you about photography. I am going to explain you which are some of the important basics that you need to learn how to operate a camera manually. So, let's begin. So first, I want to begin explaining what is photography. In a dictionary, photography is defined as the art of processing images. But I think that there is a better definition, which is drawing with light. This definition comes from the syllables photo, which means light, and graphic, which means drawing. This definition explains that the light is the principal thing needed to take pictures. No light, no picture. One of the better things about photography is that it is based on your imagination, how you can make that the objects, the people, and everything on it can call attraction from others. Photography shows the beauty of the people, of the objects, all the surroundings that are on the image. Photography is to take pictures of any moment from a different perspective. This is something that makes unique photography, originality, that you can use your creativity to take the picture the way you want it.
Before you learn how to use a camera, you need to know its parts. So, I'm going to show you some of their parts. This is a Nikon D60, a very simple camera. First, I want to begin with the top. This is the on and off button. This is the shutter button. You press this button to release the shutter. This is the mode dial. You turn this dial to select shooting mode according to the scene you want to capture. The shooting modes are largely divided into two different zones: creative zone and basic zone. The creative zone allows the user to select and set functions according to their intended purpose. It means manually. On the basic zone, the camera automatically selects the appropriate settings according to the select scene. This is the hot shoe. This is a terminal for attaching large external flash units. This is the rear, the back. This is the viewfinder eyepiece. You look through this eyepiece to view the image you want to capture. The camera settings can also be displayed in the viewfinder in addition to the image. This is the menu button. Use this button to display the menu for adjusting the different camera functions. This is the playback button. This button for playing back images you have captured. This is the delete button, erase button. You erase something you want you have recently took. The LCD monitor. The set button, multi-controller. Multi-controller keys can be used to move between the menu items or to move the magnified display to a different point during the image playback. This is the main dial. This is a multi-purpose dial that allows you to perform tasks such as adjust value of the shooting or move you throughout the images. This is the button zoom in and zoom out. To mount the lens on the camera, you have to make a simple process. You first take off both covers. Then you look for a little white dot on the lens, that is the down part and near the mirror in the camera. You take both ones, you align them. Once you have positioned the lens on the camera's mount, you turn the lens counterclockwise direction until the lens clicks into place. To release the lens from the camera, you just have to press the lens release button by turning the lens clockwise onto the white dot. Both white dots are aligned.
To know how to use a camera manually, you need to learn the exposure triangle. These are the values that you use while you're taking a picture. These values are aperture, shutter speed, and ISO.
Aperture. A camera's aperture setting controls the area over which light can pass through your camera lens. It is specified in terms of an f-stop value. You might wonder why we will ever want less light to reach the sensor. The answer is the majority of the time we want a larger depth of field. Depth of field is a byproduct of aperture. Narrower apertures give a greater depth of field, allowing more of a scene to be in focus. Think about landscapes. Wider apertures create a narrow depth of field, which can help isolate a subject and is one of the greatest compositional tools at your disposal. Okay, I want you to look at these pictures. The first one at the left and the second one at the right. I just want you to focus on the f value, the aperture. The first one has an f1.8. The second one has an f10. If you look at the background, you can see more details on the second image than at the first. This explains the depth of the field, how you make that the background looks more on focus. Meanwhile, at the first picture is completely blurry. Shutter speed. A camera's shutter speed determines when the camera sensor will be open or closed to incoming light from the camera lens. The shutter speed specifically refers to how long this light is permitted to enter the camera. The reason why we might want to use a higher shutter speed is to stop motion, whether that be camera shake or a subject that is moving, allowing us to maintain sharpness. Remember, as long as the shutter is open, the camera is essentially recording the position of elements in the frame. If one of those elements move, the result will often be undesired blurriness. Let's analyze the shutter speed on these images. We got this little girl jumping. On the first image, which has 640 fractions of a second, and on the second image, which has 100 fractions of a second. On the first image, we can see all the details while she is jumping. This determines that the shutter speed has well value. Meanwhile, on the second image, her body is almost completely blurred. We cannot see much details on it. This is because the sensor was too slow to capture the light while she was jumping. ISO. The ISO determines how sensitive the camera is to incoming light. However, unlike aperture and shutter speed, a lower ISO is almost always desirable, since higher ISO dramatically increases image noise. Increasing the ISO essentially allows you to work with less light, but increased ISO results in increased noise and less detail. Noise is the result of random fluctuations in an electrical signal. At lower ISOs, the magnitude of the image signal is large relative to the noise, meaning the noise is generally remains unobstructed. Two ways of taking a picture with low light is to use a very low shutter speed or a very high ISO. We got both examples to explain you how an image is affected by a high ISO. On the first image, we got a second of shutter speed and an ISO of 100. This is the minimum for many cameras. And on the second image, we got 100 fraction of a second and an ISO of 25,600. This is the maximum ISO that my camera has. Compared to the first image, we can see that the second image looks very dirty. This is the noise. These little white dots are made by the sensors because of the lack of light. Once you have understood the exposure triangle, you will be able to practice and take pictures manually with your camera. This is it for this tutorial, and thanks for your attention.